Hey everybody, so it's a sad day for the drumming community. We lost a great Clyde Stubblefield, the original funky drummer. Just wanted to talk about my earliest memory of Clyde. I think when I was getting started drumming, one of the very first magazines I got was actually a drum magazine, and I want to say it was the issue with Joey Jordison, and I think it was that issue. Had a transcription, maybe by Stanton Moore in the back of Clyde's original funky drummer break. There's a few different variations he did, but that was before I even knew much about James Brown or anything like that. And remember trying to play along, to that stuff, and I was not funky. We'll put it that way. I was definitely not a funky drummer at that point, trying to make sense of this transcription, and it was years later, that I actually got to hear Funky Drummer, and I was like, oh, that's how that's supposed to sound, Very difficult to replicate the feel of Clyde's left-hand ghost notes, on paper, and even when I heard it originally, before I actually saw Clyde play. I was just like, man, the power, that he's putting on that snare drum. It just always in my mind, I was thinking that he was, kind of like really whacking those backbeats a lot harder, and then you watch him play, and it's just like, it looks like he's hardly moving, sometimes now, and he definitely threw down, but yeah, you can't replicate that feel, that sound on paper very well without having heard it firsthand, and the next time I really dug deep into Clyde, after that original Stanton Moore transcription, I believe it was Stanton Moore that did those transcriptions in that, was actually the Questlove article in A Modern Drummer, where he was talking about some of the beats, I think on the Tipping Point album, and is going on about Clyde Stubblefield's left hand. I'm trying to think of the track it was. Not Boom. I forget which one it is. He talks about it in that issue. If I find it, I'll put a note down in the description. But just going on about like, man, Clyde's left hand so syncopated, those ghost notes, those pickup notes, ghost into an accent, just funky as hell, man. And from that point on, because I for me, I got into I kind of tracked a lot of these drummers that I became into from the folks that are kind of more contemporary to me. So it's like I would, get into somebody like Questlove, and then he would talk about who his influences were, and then I would go and try and find those drummers' albums and check them out. And so reading that article about Questlove's influences and how much he, really studied Clyde's left hand and tried to replicate that and everything, definitely made a big impact on me. And that made me check out some of these. The Funky Drummer, of course, is one. But and that's the thing everybody remembers Clyde for. But Clyde wasn't too into that. That was just kind of like a jam he did, and it was always like he was playing for the song, and that was just kind of a jam. So that's like one of the things he's known for. But he really didn't even he was like always like Funky Drummer, man, whatever. But there's so many great James Brown tracks that Clyde played on. I'm not even going to try and name them, but one in particular that really, really sticks with me is I think it's Since You've Been Gone. Syncopated as hell, man. Just Clyde's a beast, and the drumming community definitely lost a great one. And thankfully we he's become more celebrated later in his life, and people are starting to pay more attention to these guys, that were really the heart and soul of the band, and him and Jabo too, of course, just excellent beasts on the drums, and so I just wanted to give a quick shout out, to Clyde, and a few bars of silence for Clyde's work, and let's all be funky today, guys. All right, funky beats in the name of Clyde. Peace.